Okay, welcome here today, guys. We're here to talk about my thriller film, Whispers of Yesterday, and today we're going to discuss the storyline, the plot of the thriller film itself. I've established a storyline as of yet, and I just want to run it through with you guys to see if you have any improvements, and if you really like that storyline, see what needs to be added or kept the same in it.
Yeah.
So my storyline consists of a man. He is a private investigator, and basically he fakes his own death in order to protect his family. Private investigating is a very personal line of work, so it's not creating enemies against the company, it creates enemies against the person. Therefore, he fakes his own death to protect his family, and unfortunately his wife and child perish. So now you're up to date on the past of his life. We're up to the current state of the film. So in the film, the protagonist, named John, he's pretty emotional, pretty upset. He still fakes his own death. No one knows he's alive, not even his own family. Every so often, probably about every twice, 3 times a week, his niece comes up and just spruces up his grave. His grave's quite old, and she just spruces it up, to remember him. It's the only bit of family he's got left. And when she stops coming, he knows something's up. And then he realises that his old enemies have come back, and someone that was very close to him thought that one of his best friends, is actually turned against him. And he's getting all his other friends to team up against John and just take him out once and for all from his life of private investigating. So obviously John, knowing this, reveals that he's not dead to his niece and goes out and is on a mission, a revenge story / betrayal to take out anyone that's obviously after his family, which is the revenge, obviously killing the people that are trying to kill his niece and the people that killed his wife and child. And then he's also a betrayal story because his best friend is actually the guy that is hosting this search for John to kill his family. And obviously once John has protected his niece and she's got a husband, they're all grown up and they can start life together, he will he's a heavy Christian, and he'll happily wait as he believes that once he passes he'll meet his wife and child in heaven. So he's quite a stern character, but he does have his strong beliefs. So now you've heard the story, we'll just put John up there so you don't forget the protagonist's name. What are your initial opinions and what do you think needs to be changed, or what do you think really strong? Dan, do you want to start us off?
I quite like it. I mean, I could see that it might have took a bit of inspiration from Taken, the Bourne films, which inspiration. I've got no problem with that. I think even though it's using the themes of revenge, the theme of someone who's in not political, what's the word? Authority stance, like police, private investigator. It's all good. These are all generic things, but you go to a thriller film to watch a thriller film for these things, and from the sounds of it, it's a nice twist on it with all the grave, the nuance of him realising she doesn't turn up, and then him being religious brings in a bit of the Da Vinci Code in my eyes, which is very interesting indeed. I think you're mixing loads of different plots together, which a lot of films do in a very negative way. You can look at any terrible thriller or action film, and that's when they try and mix too much and throw too many twists in there. But I feel like the way you've explained it, I have to see when it's executed, but it seems like these themes, they complement each other, not sort of take away. So overall, it all mixes together nicely.
So you don't think that it sounds too much like a generic thriller film? You think there's enough interest in there to keep it fresh for the audience?
There's enough, because obviously all these themes have been used before, but these themes in this sort of like blend is new and unique, and I think will keep the audience very interested, personally. Okay, well thank you very much. I'm just writing a couple of notes down because you said that also took inspiration from Taken, which you're right. But where most of my inspiration came from this film was actually the film The Nice Guys, which came out earlier this year. You've not seen it? I've not seen it. Right.
Really good film. Basically, that's where the private investigator thing came from. Now, in that film, it's a duo comedy act, and it's more of an action crime comedy. But I took the inspiration of the personal investigator, and one of the characters in particular, played by Russell Crowe. That's just where most of my implication came from. But you're right by saying like the revenge type. Going after people who are after his family taken, that was a huge inspiration to me. So, Miles, what are your opinions on the storyline?
Well, I think, I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad or anything, but I think it's, pretty generic, which isn't a bad thing because, when an audience, as Dan says, when an audience goes to see a thriller film, they know what they're going to expect, and obviously you can provide that for the audience, and it's going to, obviously meet their needs for the film itself. However, I do feel it is a bit generic, and it might, you might need to add a few, interesting twists to it, just to make it a bit different and stand out from, the usual thriller films. But other than that, I think it's a pretty decent idea. It should be a solid film. But yeah, it just depends how you execute it at the end of the day as well. So that's what I would say.
So did you have any ideas for how I'd make it unique? I was thinking while you were talking about making maybe having John not as such as a ghost, maybe a bit more supernatural.
Yeah,
as
maybe.
Such. Making him a bit more. If I make him more mysterious, and maybe that will, I don't know what you guys think, might grasp the audience into his protagonist more. I feel like the way I can avoid this generic storyline is evolving the storyline around the character than revolving the storyline around the character, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'll keep that in mind, the fact that, because I know one of the kids coming up is generic.
Which isn't a problem, but it's just...
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's not a problem. I've said many times when researching that they all follow the same kind of, stages, but the thing that makes them good is the twists and turns within the film.
I mean, for example, when you look at all the superhero films, like Avengers and all that stuff, they all pretty much, follow the exact same formula, and there's nothing really that's different about them. But it's not really a bad thing, because at the end of the day, those films are still doing really good, and it's just something that's really interesting. Because obviously, if that formula is working, and if you follow that, then obviously the film's going to be good, nevertheless. So just. The execution really, mate.
On Mars, it's they're generic, they do the same thing, but as I said, they're successful both commercially and critically.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a big aspect.
Yeah, because you need to get aim for the good reviews, and then obviously you want people to enjoy the film as
and
well.
pay to see it.
So
exactly.
That's where I'm coming from. Anthony, what are your opinions?
Agreeing with those two, it's got same sort of themes as other ones. It's generic, but I like the individuality of using the religion along with the revenge story. Because as you said, if John's a Christian, it's not exactly in their religion to have to go out for revenge. They forgive. So having that Christianity and then wanting revenge, it sort of gives controversy from other religions and also just against other films as well.
It gives you a chance to use internal conflict within the character, making the character development more unique and interesting.
Yeah.
So instead of having him typecast as a stock Christian or a stock detective, he's got this conflict within him, which makes him unique compared to your typical Brian Mills from Taken or something like that.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I think that you made a really good point to the fact that Christians are about forgiveness, and I feel that I need to convey it in the storyline that obviously he fakes his own death to protect his family, and obviously when his family perish, he doesn't deliberately. From that moment, he doesn't go out and get them. He's emotionally, he turns to alcohol and smokes a lot. He smokes a lot, all because of his depression. But at the end of the day, once his niece, he knows they're after his niece. That's when I feel like he kind of snaps and he loses that kind of his religious beliefs and just goes out from his work and just gets it done. Yeah. So I feel that I've highlighted the religious because I feel that that's a huge bit for his character development. I feel that if I execute that well, it will all help the main story itself. Mm-hmm. Just as a final point about the story, because obviously I said about revolving it around John himself. Has anyone got any final comments on the character of John, any questions or anything they feel that could be improved with his character? Because also we know he's religious in his family, but yeah, Miles?
What does he look like?
Well, I'm planning to have him, the actor who plays him is fairly tall.
Okay.
He is, and he's big in size as well.
So fat?
You could, he is pretty, no, I'd say he's more chunky than he is muscly. Yeah. But I kind of chose him as this actor because I wanted my protagonist to look kind of, dominant. I didn't want him to look weak compared to when I did my AS film last year. The protagonist was quite weak looking compared to the antagonist. This time I wanted a bit of a battle between them to make it look like he had a bit more of a chance. And not only that, it just makes him look like the average guy.
So now hearing this though, what sort of camera shots are you going to use then? Just because obviously if he's a big guy, you'd like to use tilt-up shots.
Yeah,
and
I've got
like that, you know what I'm saying?
some low angle shots
Yeah.
on him to make him look bigger.
Yeah.
But there's also times within the trailer where he isn't the big guy and he's feeling quite low, and that's it gives me a shot to use low and high angle shots on him, as well as tilt up and tilt down shots, as well as a lot of close-ups as well, because he's quite an aggressive character that you see quite a lot in his face, the emotion he pulls. He's quite, he can look quite innocent, but he can also get himself quite angry as well. Dan, Anthony, do you have anything else to say about John?
I just want to add something to the religious side of things. So what I think you could have to make it even more controversial is John going to a sort of priest and asking what should he do, and actually the priest telling him to go out for revenge. Sort of just make it more controversial, but also it keeps the audience intrigued into why the priest, who would say forgive instead of get revenge, is actually telling him to go out for revenge.
Yeah, I quite like that idea actually. It would be quite hard to execute, obviously making it, because you'd have to get the correct costume for the priest, which I can imagine would be quite hard to get hold of, and also getting access into the church. Because also I went to the churchyard as a bit of my research into location and stuff, and obviously the church doors, obviously you couldn't get in, so I'd have to kind of plan that out, but I'd really like the fact that you could have this kind of controversial priest that actually tells him to go out for revenge rather than forgiveness.
I think with the priest plot though, that idea would be something I wouldn't convey in marketing or trailers, like in posters, magazines or trailers. I would keep that hidden as the big twist. Like in 7, the ending isn't shown in the trailer. In Shutter Island, the ending isn't shown in the trailer. In the Ghost Rider, the ending isn't shown in the trailer. Like, unique twists should be kept secret. So I don't want you, like when you're making the film, I don't want you, when you're making the promotional material, to give away too much, because that can affect the film badly.
Yeah, actually, I think he's another good point. The plot line of having the priest in there is such an amazing and controversial type thing that I think will get people talking about the storyline.
Yeah.
But as Dan said, that could be the thing that, because if you gave everything away in the trailer, there'd be no much point seeing the film. I think we could all agree on that. I feel like with a lot of discussions we have as a group, we say that some trailers that we're discussing show too much of their antagonist or their protagonist. For example, Kong Skull Island showed a lot of Kong. Personally, to me, I wanted to kind of keep him hidden, because that would give me more push to go and see the film next March. But Dan, I think that's a really good idea you gave to kind of say, I put another question mark, to kind of save this for the final film, and just also show glimpses of what you said, Anthony, about this kind of religious forgiveness. Should he revenge? Should he forgive? But I feel like leaving the actual the final conversation with the priest to the final film. Okay, well, thank you for that, guys. I feel that I need to go over these notes and just a final check in to see if this exactly what I want my storyline to be. I want to say a massive thank you to you guys for giving me your ideas. I will be using the priest in the final film, but as I said, what Dan said, I feel like I might say that for the final film rather than the trailer. But once again, thank you guys.